Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It has gone 6 o'clock, so we'll make a start on tonight's Cabinet meeting. First item of business is the meeting protocol. It is as printed. I don't intend to go through that. Everyone here is aware of the emergency procedures. Item 2 is apologies. I'm not aware of anyone. All of Cabinet is present. Item 3 is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest beyond those already printed on the agenda? No, I'm not seeing any. That leads us on to item 4, which is the minutes of the last meeting. They have been circulated. Is everyone happy that I sign them as a true and accurate record? Yeah. Thank you. And can I just see it's good to see Councillor Gutteridge back in his position after his bout of COVID. Good to see you back on your feet again, Councillor. That leads us on to agenda item number 5, which is public consultation. I've not been made aware of any. So that takes us on to agenda item number 6, which is the Air Quality Action Plan. Councillor Gutteridge.
Thank you, Chair. Cabinet is asked to consider approval of the Air Quality Action Plan produced in accordance with requirements of the Environment Act 1995. The proposed action plan has been developed following review of the previous action plan adopted in 2011. Cabinet is also asked to consider the final form of the AQAP, particularly relating to the revocation or otherwise of Air Quality Management Area AQMA, following recommendations from the Housing, Environment and Health and Overview Scrutiny Panel and responses to public consultation. The Environment Act 1995 requires councils to assess air quality in their area and designated air quality management areas if improvements are necessary. The council has declared 2 management areas for exceedance of the annual mean nitrogen dioxide objective. These are Leicester Road Gyratory, Midland Road Central Avenue Corporation Street, where a management area is designated. Local authorities are required to produce an air quality action plan describing the pollution reduction measures it will put in place. Nuneaton and Bedworth previous action plan was produced in 2011. Has now been reviewed as required by the legislation. The review was undertaken in conjunction with the Council's air quality consultant officers from the Environmental Health, Planning Officers and Warwickshire County Council Highways team. The new draft action plan was considered by Housing, Environment and Health Overview and Scrutiny Panel on the 24th of June and subsequently on the 7th of October 2021, where a presentation was provided by Warwickshire County Highways on the traffic components on the Transforming Nuneaton programme. The key points from the initial draft action plan were Air Quality Management Areas 1, Leicester Road Gyratory could be revoked on the basis of compliance with the air quality objective. Exceedance of the nitrogen dioxide objective remain at 2 locations on Midland Road. Improvements in the vehicle fleet based on national trend data suggested that Midland Road exceedance would be compliant in 2021. However, Midland Road nitrogen dioxide is not decreasing as quickly as the national trend, indicating that compliance is unlikely to be achieved within this time period. It is anticipated that compliance will be achieved in the next few years as less polluting vehicles increase within the fleets. The action plan, in order to be proportionate, needs to focus on actions that can be implemented within the next few years, with costs that are proportionate to the level of exceedance. The draft action plan set out measures within the following 5 broad categories. Support and collaboration with Warwickshire County Council on traffic management measures directly impacting on Midland Road. Promotion of behaviour change away from single occupancy private vehicle use. Promotion of the use of alternative fuel vehicles. Developing policies to support better air quality and controlling domestic emissions. A statutory public consultation was undertaken between 23rd of November 2021 and the 3rd of January 2022. The following strategy consultants were consulted: DEFRA, Environment Agency, Highways England, all neighbouring local authorities, Warwickshire County Council, Public Health Warwickshire, Coventry and Warwickshire Chamber of Commerce. The Council also consulted residents, businesses and other stakeholders by placing the action plan on the Nuneaton website, the Nuneaton Bedworth Borough Council website, issuing press release and using all other Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council communication platforms to promote the consultation. Consultation responses are presented in the appendix of the report, but the key points are: DEFRA approved the action plan but provided some suggestions for the final plan. Any responses from the statutory consultancies were supportive. Some suggested minor technical changes. Consensus from public response was concern and opposition to revoking AQMA1 Leicester Road gyratory. Taking the consultation responses into consideration, the recommendation of the report is therefore the Air Quality Management Area 1 Leicester Road gyratory be retained. Subject one of the above, the final action plan be approved. Delegated authority be given to the Director, Planning and Regulation to finalise the proposed wording with minor alterations in consultation with the portfolio holder. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Guttridge. Does that receive a seconder? Councillor Markham, thank you. Anything? Councillor Watkins.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to see that we're keeping the air quality management area in number 1 in this report and the recommendations. However, as I've said before, the way that we could remove the air quality problems in Midland Road and in Leicester Gyratory would be if we had a Northern Relief Road. I know that you won't listen to the Northern Relief Road, but that removes the 2 air quality issues that we have in Nuneaton, and so should be listened to. We should pressure Warwickshire County Council and ask them to do more on looking at the problems that we have on these 2 air quality areas. They're not new air quality areas. They're not going to go away very quickly. We can't ask people to share cars, or we can ask them, but they won't listen. We're not expecting everybody to jump on a bike. And where's the infrastructure for the electric cars? Because I can't see many more electric charging points going on. So it's good to have an action plan, and I appreciate the action plan, but where's the infrastructure going in? And where's the pressure being put on Warwickshire County Council? Because I don't think there's enough pressure being put on Warwickshire County Council to take the health of the residents of Nuneaton seriously and look at getting rid of these 2 air quality problems that we've got. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Watkins. Is there anything from officers? Mr. Snowden?
The only comment I'd make in response to Councillor Watkins' comments is, yeah, I mean, the pressure on Warwickshire County Council in terms of, for example, electric charging infrastructure, I suppose it's realistic to say that the action plan it facilitates that. So the action plan directs us to do that, really. So it means that we need to work with Warwickshire to try and make sure that infrastructure is in place. So I think that is what the action plan's about, really.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Snowden. I have a few points that I'd like to come back on. First of all, I am pleased to see that AQMA1 is being maintained as part of this. We have seen massive housing development over on the eastern side of Nuneaton, with up to 6,000 additional houses being put onto the road network around there, going over with the Leicester Road Gyratory in that area. And until we see the final outcome of all the development, I think it would be premature to actually remove the monitoring at this stage. In relation to reducing emissions, I think Councillor Watkins obviously missed the point at the Transforming Nuneaton Board when we had a whole presentation on road improvements as part of Transforming Nuneaton, and the impacts of proposals such as opening up Wheat Street, and in terms of the proposed roundabout at the bottom of Leicester Road going into Bond Street and round into Vicarage Street, which would have, if it is able to go ahead, and there are some land assembly points which County are working on, but if that goes ahead, that would have a massive impact on traffic into and out of Nuneaton and over the Leicester Road Gyratory. So I do think that County Council is actually working constructively with us on this point to actually try and address some of those issues. And I'm aware that the Labour Party and Councillor Watkins is trying to make this concept of a northern relief road the panacea to all of Nuneaton's problems, but it quite simply won't be that. We will have to find money to afford it. We would be talking in excess of £100 million to do that. We already know that a smaller project in Rugby went over budget to over £50 million. So getting over a seven platform stations tracks is going to be an enormous feat of engineering to try and accomplish. And to get most of the money to do that, or a significant proportion, would mean that we would have to look at housing as a means of doing that. Is the Labour Party seriously telling us that they want to deliver this relief road at the cost of having over 10,000 houses put on Tuttle Hill going out towards Weddington Road, most of which wouldn't actually be within our jurisdiction? It would fall within North Warwickshire, so we would get all the misery with no financial gain, and add 10,000 more properties into an area where it is the very same Labour Party that inflicted 10,500 houses on Nuneaton and Bedworth. No thank you to the Labour Party. That's exactly why they were voted out of office in May, because they have no real plans for the problems facing Nuneaton and Bedworth. So I'm not going to impose an additional 10,000 houses onto the good residents of Nuneaton and Bedworth. If that is seriously the Labour Party's selling point, they obviously haven't learnt the lessons of the May election. So, are we all happy with the report as written? All those in favour, please show. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. That moves us on to agenda item number 7, which is the Civic Honours Subcommittee Terms of Reference. Councillor Croft.
Thank you, Leader. I should try to be brief on this one because it is essentially a technical point. We've already established Civic Honours Subcommittee. Now Cabinet has to approve its terms of reference, which the committee set in its November meeting, I think it was, which are printed in the agenda. I just want to make one slight verbal amendment because the Borough Solicitor advises me that under the 1972 Act, there are both honorary older men and honorary older women. So we should include that in the minutes to be as inclusive as possible, I believe is the jargon these days. And I will, while I'm on my feet, just take the opportunity to fly the flag and say that because it's the Jubilee year and because we haven't given out very many civic honours for very many years, we have selected a fantastic spread of candidates for honours, and I don't know if we're in a position to announce the date of the council where we're doing that yet. You can pick it up later, I think. But I hope that all members will turn up to in their Sunday best for what promises to be a lovely occasion and a lovely civic occasion. So I'll move that, Leader. Thank you very much.
I will second that from the Chair. Thank you, Councillor Croft. Any member wish to speak? We are in the process, Councillor Croft, of trying to set that meeting for probably sometime in March, but until that meeting is actually convened by the Head of Paid Service, Mr Davis, I don't think it's appropriate to actually reveal any potential dates. But I do think it is a key part of this new administration's plank, which is that we want to revive civic pride within our borough. A lot of people sacrifice a lot of time and effort free of charge to make great efforts in our communities and making a lot of difference to a lot of people. And I think it is only right that this council honours them in some way. We have got the capacity for honorary aldermen and women and also freedom of the borough. That is something which is relatively easy to restart because there is already a legislative provision for that. It is actually the harder work, and the subcommittee has already started this work, of actually establishing a formal system of civic honours to those who don't meet the criteria of the freedom of the borough or the honorary aldermen and older women. And I'm pleased to say that will be called the Nuneaton and Bedworth Award of Merit, and that will actually be worked up as a formal policy of council and brought back to the subcommittee and ratified through the usual channels and brought to full council for approval. And also to look at the long-term ban on naming roads or buildings after people who are living. Historically, under the previous administration, they would only allow buildings or roads to be named after people who had deceased, with the exception of the Queen, of course, in the 1950s with Queen Elizabeth Road, etc. But there are a number of people who have made great contributions to our society, and if it is appropriate, then they should be honoured in that same way too, and actually live to be able to see the community's recognition of the efforts that they have made. So I'm actually really pleased to see this piece of work coming through, because there's a lot of people who put a lot of effort in who go on as unsung heroes in our communities. So on that note, I shall bring it to a vote. All those in favour of the terms of reference, please show. That is unanimous. I thought you were voting there, Claire, when you were doing your brushing your hair back. So that leads us on to the final agenda item of tonight, which is the Economic Development Strategy, which is from me, which I will move from the chair. So the Economic Development Strategy has been formulated with a view to not only highlighting the challenges, the historic challenges that our borough faces, but also the long-term aims and ambitions of how we can actually make improvements in Nuneaton and Bedworth to the quality of life and the economic vitality of our borough. It is designed to be a short policy, because historically they have been 50 to 100 pages long, full of a load of garbage and jargon which hardly anyone reads. And what we want to happen is for this policy to actually be short, meaningful and to the point. And underneath that will sit a delivery plan which will actually go on to how we will put these thoughts and aims and ambitions into action. I think actually it is a crying shame that with the average weekly wage, I believe it is something in the region of £520 is the average weekly wage for someone in Nuneaton and Bedworth, compared to the national average, which is £50 higher. And that's per week. And that shows the scale of the challenge that we have, but also sets a bar for us to aim to as well, to, if not hit, but to surpass that. The Warwickshire average is about £20 a week higher than Nuneaton and Bedworth's average. So anything that we can do to try and improve the quality of life, the opportunities, the life opportunities, including education, which has been put here, because education is the foundation of everyone's success moving forwards, and the wider economic regeneration of Nuneaton and Bedworth, I think it is a prize worth seeking and aiming for, and I wholeheartedly endorse this report and policy to move forward. Does that receive a seconder? Councillor Golby, you've already seconded one tonight, Councillor Markham. I'll let Councillor Golby have this one. Any member? Any cabinet member? Anything from officers? No. Okay, in which case we'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, please show. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 9 is recommendations from overview and scrutiny. I'm not aware of any, and I'm also not aware of any other items under agenda item number 10. So all it leaves me to do is thank you everyone for your attendance tonight, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you. We end the live stream.